be here this morning, and thanks to Dr. Narayanan for inviting me here. I think today it is no longer a question of choice whether we should go in for financial inclusion or not. I think it is an imperative for our country. It is to be taken as a given. The question is, how do we go about it in a cost-efficient manner? How do we go about it in a secure manner? How do we go about it that we really achieve truly inclusive growth? The challenges, I think all of us know. We have 650,000 villages. Many of the urban cities as well are not financially included. It's a huge population. Dr. Gupta just mentioned 7.5 crore people have to be covered by January 2015. The other difficulty is, of course, that many parts of our country are remote, they are very distant, and there are various challenges related to, accessibility, connectivity, etc. So how is it that, there are a lot of partners, it's not just the bankers, a lot of key partners working together to achieve this goal. In urban and metro, and typically, as we know banking traditionally, we have been accessing and reaching our customers through the bricks and mortar branches. Since the financial inclusion drive started in India, the business correspondent model came in, and that of course proved much more cost effective and easier to reach the people. So in rural areas, particularly in the unbanked areas, banks started a combination of branches and business correspondent model. In fact, in SBI, we are going about it like a hub and spoke model. So a branch acts as the hub, and there are a number of BCs linked to that branch, which are the spokes to that branch. So the branch provides connectivity, it provides oversight, it provides uploading of accounts and all of that. But underlying all this, and the amazing thing is that it's happening equally in the urban areas. The underlying in all these initiatives has to be technology. There is no way we can reach this massive number of people, this massive number of, I would say, low income, financially not very literate people in far-flung areas of the country as well as in the cities, unless we have a very strong underlying architecture which is technology based and in some ways digital, with the underpinning of good connectivity in the country. In some ways there is a revolution, digital revolution happening in banking in the urban cities, but I would say an equally vibrant revolution is happening in the unbanked areas, the underbanked areas of our country. So, this Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, as Dr. Gupta said, has started recently since the new government has taken over. So what is different in this scheme? We have been talking and doing financial inclusion since I think 2010-13 we had a plan, then 2013-16. What is different in my view is that number one is the way it is being executed. It is being executed in a project mode, like a project, it's a very technically, very professionally managed project. So when you start, when you know that your project is going to start on 8th August, you start planning from May itself. So then it was very well planned, very well executed, and the result was that I think close to 1.7 or 1.8 crore accounts were opened on day one of the launch. So it did happen overnight. It happened through very, very close monitoring. I must give credit to Mr. Jain, and we have been, morning, noon and night being monitored by him. The result of that monitoring, I would say, is that all banks have become very disciplined in monitoring our progress ourselves, reporting to the DFS, and to see that the targets, the daily targets, in fact, I would say twice daily targets are met on an ongoing basis. So the one big thing is, of course, the way it is being executed. The other very big thing is that it is, in some way the enablers have been put in place. I'm really happy to know that the telecom operators in our country, the service providers, have agreed for the USSD, for the basic saving bank accounts. NPCI on the day of the launch of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana announced the NUP, the undertaking for the USSD platform, basically the clearing for the mobile banking, the interoperable transfer of funds and facility. Plus, I was also very happy to see that we were being asked by the government, tell us what your problems are. So we said the biggest problem is connectivity. There are places in the country where there is no connectivity. There are places in the country where it is difficult to even put up BSATs. So in fact, they have asked us, they have initiated, and we have told them these are the pockets where we find it difficult, we are finding it difficult. And again, in a very systematic manner, plans are being made how to bring about connectivity in these areas. We know what are the difficult and challenging areas now. And I'm sure the government has plans to ensure that the connectivity is made available within the time frame that is emphasized. The third thing is, again, it's the bundling of the products. So there is, for any product, I think to succeed, there has to be a demand and there has to be a supply. So I would see this bundling of products as a demand, in the sense that when you open a basic saving bank account for a customer, he is given a Rupay card. The Rupay card has an inbuilt accident insurance of 1 lakh rupees. So the first demand comes from there. The customer would obviously be happy to get this Rupay card. The second thing we say is that for 6 months if your account runs well, then you are developing, so to say, a credit history, a track record in the bank. And then we will be able to give you a 5,000 rupee overdraft. So the second thing is the loan that is given by the bank. The third thing is the insurance offering. And I think just yesterday the government has said that they have set aside 50 crore rupees for paying the premium of the life insurance. We are very sure that once this LIC comes on board in the second phase, that rupees 30,000 insurance will also be offered to these customers. So you have banking, you have a credit facility, and you have insurance, you have accident insurance, life insurance. Plus, this juxtaposed with the mobile banking revolution in the country. I think there are close to 900 million mobile connections in the country. And I think most of us have seen that the fairly uneducated person, fairly financially literate person is able to do some work on mobile. Maybe not financial work yet, but he is able to, Dhobi wala will also be accessible on mobile, or Bhaji wala is also accessible on mobile. So mobile is something I think we've all taken like ducks to water. Every Indian has a mobile, some have 2 or 3, oozing out of their pockets. So mobile is definitely the way to go, and the great thing that this USSD enabler that has come, no doubt the charge is 1 rupee 50 paisa per transaction. But the fact of the matter is that if you have that mobile in your hand, you can remit funds from your account to another person's account in another bank, so it is interoperable. You can make a balance inquiry, you don't have to go to the branch, you don't have to go to the BC. So even if it is 1 rupee 50 paisa, but nevertheless it saves you so much time and cost. So for the person who had no financial accessibility, for a person who was, I think the person who started off the conference today, he said, "Mera paisa mere paas." I would say, "Mera paisa bank mein, not mera paisa mere paas," because we don't want people to keep money under their cots or pay million or under their mattresses. We need to inculcate the habit of saving, slowly inculcate the habit of investing, and I think a lot of us initially when we started as bankers, we were skeptical. What is in it for us? It's hugely it's an expensive exercise. Every plastic card that we give to a customer, it costs us money. You give the plastic, first you open the account. The account may be opened by a BC or it may be opened by a branch of the bank. So, the thing is, you'll be surprised to know that we at State Bank of India are opening 2.5 lakh accounts per day under the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana. Since 1st August, we have opened more than 55 lakh accounts. Till yesterday, the last figure I know last night was 55 lakh accounts. Out of those 2.5 lakh accounts we are opening every day, only 1.5 lakhs are being opened by the BCs. Our branches are opening 1 lakh accounts per day. So you can imagine the amount of resources, the cost of the resources that we are deploying for this. In many ways, many of our branches actually are not doing anything else. They say they are only opening these accounts. So sometimes you may think that what is in it for a commercial bank, why should I do this? But we see it as a potential. First, of course, it has to be done. If you need to pull up the bottom of the pyramid, you need to get them into the financial world. We must do it. It is a social obligation, and in some ways it is an economic compulsion also. But immediately if you see what are the benefits for a banker, I think it is fairly clear from what we have heard from various notifications and talks from the government, that most of the direct benefit transfers will start flowing through the accounts. Be it the huge outlay of America funds, be it kerosene subsidy, etc. Once the funds start flowing in these accounts, for us bankers, it is a great opportunity. We get the funds, and most of these funds are as CASA deposits. They are not going into fixed deposits. They will be saving bank deposits, which is low cost funds for us. The other thing is we are likely to get some commission on the flow of funds, on DBTL, on DBT. So we do get commission, we do get CASA. And further on, as we see the BC architecture, State Bank has about 53,000 CSP outlets in all, out of which I think about 41,000 are in the rural areas, and remaining 11,000 are in the urban areas. But we see, as we grow these BC outlets, as we increase our engagement with these CSPs, as the CSPs increase their engagement with the village people, we expect these BCs to become, in fact, a very integral part of our connect with the customers in the rural areas. So currently we are only offering simple basic services like opening account, accepting deposits, remittances. But going forward, we feel that we will be able to, if we train them well, if we enable them to, become more than just account opening machines, we feel they can be in some ways a relationship manager in these villages. So we see some value in building up this BC architecture as well. Lastly, I would just like to touch upon a few things. One important thing is that many of our customers in the rural areas are potential customers are illiterate. They are also financially illiterate. So we run a huge risk, when we give people like this Rupay cards, and we expect them, they are able to operate these Rupay cards on the ATMs across the country actually. And let me tell you, State Bank has more than 6,000 rural ATMs in the country out of the total 51,000 that we have. But we do run the risk of allowing such customers to have a Rupay card through which they can access their accounts and draw funds. So it is important, I think, for the bankers that are present here today, for all of us to realize that when the customer is given the card, he is also given some education, he is also given some guidance about how to use this Rupay card, how to maintain the safety and security of the PIN of the Rupay card. It is important, otherwise it can be misused if it gets into the wrong hands. In fact, towards this end, we have about 196 financial literacy centers across our rural countryside. We have, in conjunction with government guidance, we have worked out the FAQs and the training material at these financial literacy centers. We have also shared them with our rural branches because a large number of customers are coming to the branches for these accounts. To educate the customers, particularly when you are handing over the PIN to the customer, it is essential that we must educate our customers towards the safety and security of the card and the PIN. We are also making a huge effort towards registration on the mobile banking platform, so that as and when these customers start transacting and these accounts are funded, they can use the mobile banking application and start remitting funds and doing balance inquiry. So I think we are with the government in this, and I think out of a total of 4 crore accounts opened so far, that was I think the latest figure that we have. I'm happy to say State Bank has opened 55 lakhs so far. And we are all set to achieve our targets by 26 January. The challenges that are coming in is to ensure that maximum number of customers are onboarded through the e-KYC route, that is the Aadhaar number is also seeded along with the opening of the account. So it's a parallel effort that all people in the rural areas do not have, across the country, do not have Aadhaar numbers yet. So we are also trying that, we enable the registration of fresh registration of Aadhaar numbers as we go along in the CAP mode. We are also trying to ensure that there is a little bit of a gap between the issuance of Rupay Card and opening of accounts. We close that as soon as possible, and by 26 January 2015, we hope to achieve our targets comfortably. Thank you.